So yeah, welcome to the NLP Master Practitioner webinar. See, I've just done it. And obviously an opportunity for Q&A and for people to ask whatever questions they've got about the NLP Master Practitioner course. But before we kick off with questions, I'm just going to go to Paul first. And from your perspective, Paul, just nice and anecdotally and organically, what do you feel are the big differences between the practitioner course and the Master Practitioner course?
Well, speaking from personal experience, I remember some distant time ago when I went from practitioner to master practitioner, it was clear and obvious move for me to be able to move from knowing a box of tools and then being given a framework in which to use them to take them to the next level. So that was my own personal experience, knowing that I moved from a practitioner to an NLP coach at the end of that master prac period of time, and then looking at the people that we've trained over the years as well, of just that deeper understanding. There's always, I don't know about yourself, Bevis, but I often spot in the room at the end of a practitioner course those people. There's always a bunch of people who are really keen to then continue their journey in training because it's a lovely experience. But then we also have those people who are now thinking, do you know what, I can really use this stuff, and that's where the curiosity for master prac really kicks in. So that's the key for me.
Yeah. The NLP Master Practitioner, just from, again, talking personally about the impact it had on me. I did my Master Practitioner course in 2010. I went on that course back in the day with the intention of being the best version of Gordon Brittas I could be. So my goals were about being the best leisure manager I could be. And I came off the course, and the day after I set up a coaching business, which was never on my radar. It was not an intention, but the experience of the personal breakthrough element of that course changed the way I thought, and it gave me clarity of a vision and a goal, which was way more meaningful than what I'd started the week with. And it gave me the tools to pursue that and the confidence, because up until that point, I'd never had a coaching client. And at the end of the week, I'd had a coaching client, and that experience of coaching someone else had completely changed the way I viewed the world, and the breakthrough session I'd received of letting go of what I needed to let go of to actually move forwards, which is, so there's that double-edged nature of that experience. So that's kind of our introduction to the impact, obviously, the course had on myself and Paul and how we benefit from it. And obviously we've got a list of things that the NLP Master Practitioner course covers. It feels appropriate now to open it up to questions in terms of what it is you would like to learn from today, what questions you have. And shall we start with Laurie?
Oh, because you said it so beautifully, I've got to think of a question on the spot now. Are the dates that are being discussed in January, are they fixed, or what are you doing with regards to the actual course?
Yeah, so we delivered a practitioner course about 4 weeks ago now, Paul, I think. And we didn't have any dates in January at that time. We had dates in May, the 13th to 17th, and June, the 17th to 21st. And we got pestered at the end of that week to put another set of dates on this January, because there were lots of people on the course saying, we want to do Master Practitioner more quickly. So we put some dates in January 11th to the 19th. And that is currently, those dates are in the diary. We do need, just purely from the investment of time and energy that it takes me and Paul to deliver the course, we need 6 bums on seats to deliver that course. So that's where we're at with it. I've got a conversation tomorrow. I've had 2 conversations this week. We're obviously doing the webinar today. This recording will go out to other people. So we will know in the next few weeks whether that course is going ahead.
Perfect. That will probably be the only one that I can do in 2024. So really hoping that one goes ahead.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Well, that's great. So there's one. So we're away.
Hey.
So there's one, and we're optimistic of some other confirmations shortly. So fab. So just organically then, any questions from anybody? Anything that anybody wants to ask about the course in terms of the content, the benefits of it? Any queries? Anything you're not sure about?
So for me, Bevis, it's been a while since I did the practitioner. I tried to get back into it on a few occasions, and then life's just been mental with moving around and everything else happening. For me, I'd like to go to the next level. I've wanted to do it since, I finished my practitioner course back in 2020, I think it was. is it something that I could go straight into, or would I need to have some sort of refresher? Because obviously it's been a few years now since the prac course.
So double-edged that. We're in a better position now than we were, in that the answer question is, would me and Paul feel completely comfortable you just turning up on day one of an NLP Master Practitioner cold? Yes, we would, especially knowing you as we do, and the sort of qualities you bring to that environment. From your own perspective, you might, we've got a recorded NLP diploma that me and Paul did during lockdown, partially because we had nothing else to do, and partially because actually we wanted to keep progressing and having NLP conversations. And actually what happened, without us really planning it, that won't surprise any of you, half of the content is actually practitioner refresher, and the other half of the content is NLP Master Practitioner. It's all content that can be easily digested online. So the NLP diploma actually, by accident, online, is more like a bridging course between the practitioner and the Master Practitioner course. So that would be a perfect refresher for you to kind of do at your own leisure, just to give you a bit of confidence returning into that environment.
I think we did speak about that at one time when we had a telephone catch up, and it never quite materialised. More me than you, because as you know, I've been moving about all over the place in recent years. But hopefully, I shall stay here for a few years now. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, it'd be good to see more of you, mate. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
And
well,
now we've
more of me, less of my hair, because most of that's disappeared now. But
well, it's always good to have somebody with less hair on the webinar or Zoom than me, mate. So that's always good. But now you're here, we'll be inviting you to all sorts of stuff. So we've got Christmas socials, all sorts of stuff going on. So we'll get you more involved in the community as well.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
And just to add to that, Reg, as well, that one of the most common things that I've experienced of people who have been on practitioner and then coming on to master prac is, if it's been a year or 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years or longer, that individual very often will speak to myself and Bevis and then say, do I need to reread the manual? Do I need to redo all this stuff? Do I need to get it all in my head? And the reality is, no. I mean, if you choose to, it's entirely up to you. And we're happy to recover some aspects during the master prac, but ultimately you can come back in and you already know more than what you think you do.
Okay, all right, brilliant. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, the nature of I mean, one of the objections to going on an NLP Master Practitioner course is I haven't used everything for my NLP Practitioner course. I remember my old assistant manager, a chap called Wayne, said that to me, and he did his NLP Practitioner course with somebody else, and then eventually did do the NLP Master Prac course with me and Paul. And I said to her, you'll never will. You're never ever going to use everything from your practitioner course before you go on and do your master. It's impossible. So what I would say is, experientially, if you've enjoyed the experience of the practitioner course and you found it beneficial, then keep learning, because it'll help you grow, especially because of the breakthrough element of the Master Practitioner course. I mean, at the end of an NLP Master Practitioner course, you receive a personal breakthrough session yourself. Now, it'd be worth the investment just for that, because that's an incredibly valuable process for yourself personally. The bit that is often outside people's comfort zone is the fact that you'll also be delivering one of those to someone else. And at the start of the week, we don't talk too much about it at the start of the week. But by the end of the week, you will actually be ready to do that. And that's kind of the magic of the experience, really, that at the end of the week, you have a client that you work with unsupervised and help them overcome what they need to overcome to move forwards. So the week really is built upon giving you all of the skills. Paul used the word framework earlier. Practitioner course, you kind of feel like, well, I've learned a bit there: limiting belief, submodalities, anchoring, state change. And so it's almost like an introductory course on steroids. We've learned all of this new stuff, but it doesn't necessarily all fit together. Whereas with the Master Practitioner course, we revisit meta model and Milton model, and then add in quantum linguistics, which then sits inside the framework of a detailed personal history, which is where you start with the client. So all of a sudden, you know why you've learned this stuff. Like for Gary, who had breakfast with this morning, he's already using Milton model and meta model because he's already coaching. He's got business coaching clients. So it's natural for him to use those language patterns with his clients. For a lot of us who aren't coaching, actually, what were we learning that for? We use some of it conversationally. So the detailed personal history is the frame around which we use Milton model, quantum linguistics, meta model. We then learn other techniques like phobia model, logical levels of therapy, helping people overcome phobias. We learn advanced parts integration. We're now integrating timeline therapy practitioner into our master practitioner course. So you become a certified timeline therapy practitioner as well. And perhaps the biggest, I don't know about you, Paul, but this is the way I felt after master practitioner. Perhaps the biggest or one of the biggest advantages of being an NLP master practitioner is the ability to work with values. Because values, the nice thing about values, I think, is it's a really easy, logical process for people to buy into. Not all of NLP is like that. Not all of NLP is like that, yet the ability to help people elicit and understand their life values and their life priorities and make changes to their unconscious life priorities, or to work around the typical areas people have issues with: money values, relationship values, health values. Yeah, that's a significant, I think, difference between practitioner and master practitioner. What are your thoughts, Paul?
Yeah, the values piece comes up over and over again with clients, with just people wanting to explore it as part of what they do in terms of their business. This afternoon, I'm off for a timeline therapy session with a client. Undoubtedly, we will touch on values towards the end of that as well. So doing a standalone breakthrough session with a client is wonderful. Doing that with a client next week in a one-day session. But there's aspects of the breakthrough that you can use as part of your coaching journey with a client. So values, be that some of the linguistic stuff, as you mentioned there, Bevis, with the Gary, did you say, doing business coaching at the moment? So you become just more confident and skilled as using some of the techniques just in your conversations you have with people, with your clients. So, but values underpin so much throughout the whole process.
I feel like me and we've been talking too much, so we're going to ask for some more questions. James, anything that you want to quiz me and Paul about in terms of the master practitioner course?
Yeah, I think I've already mentioned to you with regards to structure, meeting structure. I think that's quite important for me. Yes, it's great to have the theory, but how to actually put it into practice is pretty important. And Reg has already mentioned, a little refresher. And I think that online session would be quite, for me to have a watch of that would be quite useful as well. So.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think it's a funny one. When you do the NLP Master Practitioner course, the detailed personal history element of it isn't necessarily perceived to be the most meaningful part of it. But actually, on reflection, for me, it was, because it gave me something I didn't have. And that was where the hell do you start with a client?
Yeah.
So I am still asking 13 years later, 14 years later, I'm still asking the same questions than I was asking 13, 14 years ago. Now, interestingly, you've got a script. So you've got a series of questions you can ask. Now, of course, we're also teaching Milton model, meta model, and quantum linguistics. And it's also an NLP course, which is about trusting your unconscious mind. So what happens is you've got a script that you then fill in around the edges with other questions that, because if a question comes up that you think, oh, I should ask that, then ask it, because it's your unconscious mind giving you a nudge. But for me, having that, I mean, I don't have the script anymore because it's all up there unconsciously. But for the first 30, 50, 100 sessions you do, I had my black folder with the detailed personal history script on my left, and I was answering. So I was asking those questions. So what would you like to get out of this session? What else? What else? What else? Is there? So there's a process that you go through which delivers this experience for a client where within 90 minutes they've got a clear vision. So I'll say to people, part of the process, phase one, is we'll get you a clear vision for your life. And like, I'm out of coaching clients arrive going, I want clarity. Well, you can help people have that inside 90 minutes because you're listening to their languages. And then, so what you'd like to get from this is this. And they're like, oh yeah, okay. And then task number one, write a vision based on this, and this. So you help people get that vision for their life, that goal, that clarity, plus the first session also begins the journey, and it is a beginning of understanding what's blocking them in terms of limiting beliefs, internal conflicts, doubts, scar-tissue from the past, etc. And what that does, what it did for me is you end up with a really strong conversion. If you are really going, because there's plenty of people go onto the Master Practitioner course just for the personal experience. I did, really. But if you are thinking of going on it to get your coaching program going, that experience of that first session, if people experience that 60 to 90 minute session with you, some coaches do 2 hours, they're unlikely to turn around afterwards and go, oh, that's all fine, that was great, but I don't want any more. It just doesn't happen. So you end up with a really strong conversion rate from those first sessions, from them wanting to work with you. Now, there might be a different block around investment or whatever, but actually the desire to work with you will be there, because of that. And that's kind of what we're doing. We're training people to give undeniable transformational coaching. And that for me is the best marketing strategy you can ever do, is just keep knocking people's socks off with your coaching, keep transforming their lives, and they'll want to keep looking in your direction, and they'll want to refer people to you. So yes, I think the structure of that first session, and actually there is almost an order that we teach: detailed personal history, let go of emotions, let go of beliefs, let go of conflicts, let go of doubts, leave people in a positive state, revisit goal, then work on values to align values to the goal. That's still me. I don't, obviously me and Paul have different styles, but I'm still following loosely that structure 10, 13 years later. And I'm doing that because it works.
Yeah. Good.
Cool. That was a very long answer, wasn't it? Paul, anything to add to that?
Just to lay in, there's a bit of background noise just in there, just happening at that stage. But no, just following on from really what you're saying, because of course what we're doing here is discussing with you the difference between a 7-day practitioner course and a 9-day plus TLT practitioner 2-day. What's the difference? And we're focusing on that breakthrough session at the end, and you being able to deliver that, which of course is really important, because that is what you'll be able to do and get some return on your investment. However, each day that we deliver the Master Prac course, I really enjoy it, because actually each day is just layering on a different technique, a different exploration, a different aspect of linguistics that gradually just joins everything together. It's just a wonderful in-depth way of exploring even deeper as to how NLP changes lives, how NLP actually changes you as an individual, and how you turn up. So the breakthrough is just a real deep breath and opportunity to then put all that into action. And again, referring back to remembering when I did my breakthrough session, I took the role of coach first. And it was the first time in my own personal development journey that I felt I had the tools, technique, knowledge, and confidence to pull it all together. So, because it may not be that you want to do coaching in the future, it just might be that as you are operating as a business leader, as an entrepreneur, as a presenter, that when you have an opportunity to be in front of people, you communicate in a very different way, you ask very different questions, and then the responses you get back they just appear as information to you, to then form a level of curiosity that's deeper than many of the other people around you in business and or in the coaching world. So just thinking of Laurie, with your work that you do, the conversations and questions that you'll be asking will be a deeper, more meaningful level than someone who hasn't followed through on the Master Prac process. And Reg, for you, obviously we've not had a chance to catch up for some time now, but certainly I'm sure whatever direction you're going in, to have this deeper level of ability to communicate with anybody, that's got to be a massive advantage of the people around you. So I see it truly as a massive opportunity. And James, obviously, at this stage in time, I know we had a brief chat recently when we bumped into each other on the street in St Ives, which is a bit weird. But there's always options, isn't there? I mean, I did my Master Prac some 8, 9, 10 years ago. I can't even remember now. And my business, my life, everything has changed as a result of it. Now, would I point the finger at Master Pratt being the reason for that? Not necessarily. Would I point my view on the way I see the world around me? Definitely. And the two kind of come hand in hand. So maybe there's a bit of personal sharing there, as well as why Master Pratt has been important to me as regards to the business as well. So I hope that helps.
So a couple of other things that we've not mentioned as specifics. So one of the things that Master Practitioner covers that NLP Practitioner doesn't is something called modeling. And we don't talk enough about modeling. So modeling is the basis of what Tony Robbins does. He elicits from people he works with who are incredibly successful, their strategies, their state, their physiology, and then teaches others how to do the same. So one of the things we ask everybody to do, does NLP Master Practitioner, is to do their own modeling project where they find somebody they want to model and learn from in order to then be able to teach others. We also do an example of it during the course. So one of the course last summer was we got everybody breaking a martial arts board without being taught how to do it. So we had a martial artist come in, and your job as an NLP Master Practitioner is to elicit from the martial artist their values, what was important to them, their beliefs, what their beliefs were, their strategy, the sequence of thought they run through in order to break a martial arts board. And I think I'm right in saying, Paul, everybody successfully did that on that course. I think we had we had one false start. Well, actually, that was a great example as well. Somebody forgot an element of what they'd modelled, came back and redid it and broke the board, which was also great because there was a bit of overcoming perceived failure as part of that experience, because in real life you don't always get it right first time. So yeah, I think that's a surprise, because if you were taught martial arts, it would take you a lot more than 45 minutes to break a martial arts board. So the power of modeling is demonstrated. Some good examples of that: one of our clients, a lady called Rachel, set up her own personal development business, and he's been very successful. And she modelled a chap called Simon Dickens, who was being very successful commercially, and that has helped her with the journey that she's been on. So yeah, that's part of the course. I'm just going to mention a couple of logistical differences between the two courses dates we've got at the moment. The course in January 11th to 19th is a 9-day course, which doesn't include the Timeline Therapy Practitioner course, and there's a separate 2-day training on November the 30th and the 1st of December. The course in May and June is a 10-day course, which will include Timeline Therapy Practitioner wrapped inside it. So there's enough bandwidth there over 10 days to include the key elements, because we've spent a day on Timeline Therapy anyway, Master Practitioner. So there's enough bandwidth to actually certify you as part of that course. Anything else that you think that I might not have included, Paul, in terms of the key differences between the two courses?
I don't think so. I think that for those of you who have recently done your practitioner course or some time ago, you'll recall that a lot of what we did was talk about a technique, demonstrate a technique, you have a go at a technique, and then we then discuss what you learn. There's slightly less of that in Master Prac. It's more exploratory. It's more about actually, again, diving deeper. So we do demonstrations, we do it where necessary, and we explore it. But there's a lot more of the conversational learning along the journey as well. So it's a slightly different way of being taught as much as anything else, which allows us to go deep. And you'll know that the both of us like to just respond to what's in the room. So we do keep it on track, but at the same time, it's like we'll deal with the situations as and when they present themselves to be able to answer the questions that are important. Yeah, go on, Laurie.
No, so it was just to clarify that the January session doesn't include the TLT, but then it would be included, but just in the following December.
So if you're coming on the January course, I'd encourage you, if you could, come on November the 30th this year and the 1st of December. If you couldn't do those dates, this year, so it's coming up. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So if you could do that, that would be great. If for whatever reason somebody could do those dates but couldn't do TLT Prac, we'd book you on a different course. It's that again is we used to teach NLP Master Practitioner without certifying people in Timeline Therapy, partly because I wasn't qualified to do that at that time. Whereas now, but it never felt 100% comfortable, because it's part of the experience of learning NLP Master Practitioner is the Timeline Therapy element. So being able to certify you specifically as a timeline therapy practitioner, and that extra learning that goes with that, and that extra reassurance and confidence is important to me, because it is a big part of a NLP master, certainly through the AB NLP, and it's a big part of the NLP master practitioners toolkit. I wouldn't want to be trained in NLP without timeline therapy, because using timeline therapy as a coach is just so, it just makes so many, it's about efficiency for me. So I've got online clients where something crops up and they just jump up on their timeline, look down and give themselves some advice. So we also begin to explore how to use timeline therapy as a coach, as opposed to using it always as the therapist, because there's quite a significant difference, and it's just being able to understand that is also useful. Cool. Okay. Fantastic. So I think we're kind of where we need to be. So just revisiting, any final questions from anybody in the Zoom? I always like saying that rather than in the room. Any final questions from anybody? Anything from you, Reg?
Yeah, you mentioned January is not going to be workable for me, but you mentioned May and June. Is that a course in May and a course in June, or it runs between May and June?
So so we've changed the structure slightly to allow 10 days and to also allow the modelling project to be done in between the two courses. So it's over 10 days, May the 13th to the 17th, and then a month gap, June the 17th to 21st.
So it's two separate courses.
Two separate. So it's one course, but over two separate sets of 5 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the idea is that on the 5th day we'd teach modelling, you'd go away, do your modelling project, and start day 6 with feeding back to you what you got from that. And for me, that will make that section of that course more meaningful. And then you'll be delivering your breakthrough session and receiving your breakthrough session at the end of that week, which would be the 20th, 21st of June. And when we get to that bit, that is unsupervised. Now, that doesn't mean that me and Paul aren't there. We're on hand if there are any questions, but what is the surprise perhaps to people approaching NLP Master Practitioner and you is we get asked very few questions. By that point, you're ready to actually deliver that intervention, and that is the surprise. There'll be some wobbles on the way. We had different people having wobbles because we get you comfortably in your stretch zone, but that's what me and Paul are there throughout the week to support you on that journey. Good. Any final questions from you, James? Anything from you? No? Awesome. Anything else from the man in the hat, Mr. Rave or Laurie?
I think Rob does have a question or a viewpoint to put across. It's very rare that Rob doesn't have a viewpoint to put across. So, Rob.
I'd highly recommend training with these two guys. They're a great couple of bozos working together. You'll have great fun. And they're also great storytellers. I'm working with Laurie myself, who's already very skilled linguistically. What Paul did earlier on, talking about timeline, Paul tells me he doesn't do hypnosis. Paul does the Milton model really well. Doesn't even know he does it half the time. Paul's tonality always makes me fall asleep. He's always getting me in trance. So, he will trance you out. Bevis will come up with some amazing insights and pithy wisdom. It's a brilliant course. I just said to Paul, what's my discount? He said, oh, you won't get one. I said, of course I'll get a discount. I'll get at least 20% from Bevis, because that's what I would be charging him in our commercial arrangement. So it's a win for everyone. But if I'm on the course, I will also stretch everybody on the course, because I've taken this stuff and I've used it in a corporate setting. That's what I get paid for, conversation. So that's why I work with these people. Paul helps me with that. Bevis helps me. Laurie's my copywriter. You with me? I'm with my tribe. So hopefully see you soon, but do the course. It's a brilliant course, brilliant trainers.
Wow.
And from Radio Rob, that's
I'm just going to pick up on one final thing before we wrap up. So Rob obviously described that about his tribe, and so that is perhaps one of the benefits of continuing the NLP journey that may get overlooked from me and Paul with our values of freedom and independence. I never really got into NLP or got into coaching and training to create a tribe or create a community, but actually now that's probably one of the things that I'm most grateful for. because in the personal development world, you think differently. And you think differently, and values level thinking explains that. And that's also the final thing we've not talked about. So we also explore values level thinking, which explains where your thinking is at and what the next stage of your evolutionary journey is, and what you need to let go of to go on that evolutionary journey. So without teaching values level thinking now, we train a lot of people who have a lot of thinking around values level 4, which is right, wrong, black, white, authority, maybe in employment. Whereas values level 5 is entrepreneurial, has more freedom. But of course, we have a lot of societal conditioning at values level 4. So often people have to let go of a bit of fear and a bit of guilt to actually step into themselves as an entrepreneur. Or we often also get people who are entrepreneurs who are struggling to slow down. And there's a journey that they need to go on, and they need to let go of different things in order to actually enjoy what they've created. So there are, as we could carry on, but without teaching values level thinking, that's difficult. So I think that's the fact that you connect and have an opportunity to spend time with people in an environment where you're not being judged. And also there's a community element. We're going to have a social this Christmas. We have NLP meetups. So I think there's a tribe. My best mate said that to me, that he felt like he'd found his tribe, which is not the sort of thing I ever imagined my best mate ever saying. But I got quite emotional about that. So as much as there was a heavy sales angle from Rob, which was very appreciated by me and Paul, there is an element of that community part which perhaps me and Paul don't talk enough about. Cool. Okay, so I think we're there. I think we've covered every question. Any final questions before we wrap up? Anything? We'll obviously be, obviously Laurie, I know you're keen on the January course. Reg, I know that you're keen on the summer dates by the sounds of it. James, I think you're thinking more summer, aren't you, as well? Yeah. Cool. So we'll be in touch directly with you about the specific offer for those courses. And obviously, one thing I will say is that NLP Master Practitioner has an investment and Time and Therapy Practitioner has an investment. So we're packaging up a deal that's good value at the moment for you. So we'll be in touch with you around that. And if there are any final questions, or you think of something that hasn't come up during the course of this webinar, me and Paul aren't strangers, just ask away.
Lovely.
Perfect. Well,
thank you.
Have a fantastic, lovely to see you again, Reg.
And you, yeah, it's nice to see you both.
Yeah, good to see you, mate.
Yeah, it'd be good to get a catch up just off the back of this anyway.
Yeah, I'd enjoy that.
Yeah, that'd be good. I didn't know you were back in sunny Cambridge, mate. That's awesome.
Oh, I've been all over the place. I've been a nomad for about the last 3 years, to be honest.
Good.
But yeah, back now. So you won't get rid of me now.
Well, that's good. That's good. I need somebody to make me feel good about my hairline, Reg. That's good.
Appreciate that. Thanks from the heart. That was, wasn't it?
Good. Cool. Awesome. Well, look, have a fab rest of the day. Always good to spend time with you guys, and we will be in touch very soon.
Speak soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.